All right, who told him? Who told Rusty? This is some
Own up.
bullshit.
We were
Come
going to
on.
call him out.
It was going to be a live on-stream humiliation that his entire bedroom is actually upside down and he's the only thing upright. And then someone wrecks it in chat and it's just all over. There he is. Can we cut back to that shot, please, right now? We don't need to be there for too long, but the man is rearranging his room as we speak. Look at what you've done to him.
Oh no, his bed
God.
wasn't made either.
This is so bad. I blame you, Lady Dubsy, after everything we've been through together as OPL community, OPL family. This is what it comes down to. Us not being able to humiliate a co-worker on broadcast. But speaking of humiliations, this was less of a one for AV this time around. You were happier with the draft from both teams this time, Juves.
Yeah, I thought both drafts were actually good. Big sweeps on the Ornn in the top lane, only on Lee Sin. It was a clinical performance from both of them. But AV had some very obvious win conditions in that draft, and it was definitely a bit of the game was competitive until it wasn't. Right, That's the best way to summarize that. I think that AV just need to play the game a little bit like their own comms together. And I mean that in they're going in 4v5 to fights, someone's dead, and it's like their microphones are muted and they haven't been told that player's dead, and then they're re-engaging to another fight.
It's like week 2 of the OPL online where just everything went wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I fast-forwarded a little bit. I was going to touch on Swiper and Only. I think they're having a belter or banger of a series, really. This is probably the best we've seen Swiper play in a very, very, very long time. And likewise with Only, I think they're really hitting their playoffs form. So I wanted to give a shout out to them. I think Swiper's laning's been really good. The way that he's influenced the map has been really good. He's moving out of his lane to get, and his mid laner a lead. He's coming to fights, Only much of the same. I think he's picked up some significant CS leads in the jungle. And Lisa's really just been playing catch up all series. He's just been trying to catch up to Only, but Only's just been that one step ahead.
You mentioned after the last game that 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline in football at halftime.
Yeah.
But 2-0 is not a dangerous scoreline when it's a best of 5 and we're in this situation because you're basically at match point. How important is something like the swagger and the flow and confidence of players like Only and Swiper as they're heading into what could potentially be this final game?
Well, I've been on the 2-0 side multiple times, and so, when you're 2-0 up, there's literally no pressure. You come out of there, you're laughing, everyone's having a good time, everyone's having fun, and you have 2 games in the bank of 2 significant mistake games, which you're not going to get to them, but the problem you have is okay, let's say that you drop one and you go to 2-1, AV then think all of a sudden, AV then start getting into their zone and they're okay, this is doable. And then if you drop one, it is a big hit to the system. It's oh, we only need to drop another one and it's match point. So I never like to think of a best of 5 as it's almost over because it's never over until it's over. And so yes, Auto are going to be feeling really good about themselves. I know they're a very big confidence team. They're very big confidence players. I think it's going to be it's going to be one of the biggest uphill battles AV as an organization has ever faced because, like I said, you got Swiper Only just playing out of their mind. Rare 7, very big confidence player. So I don't see it. I don't see it happening, but I want to see it happen. I'd love to see a game 5. But yeah.
And I guess the confidence thing, you say, goes both ways. When you're confident when you're winning, but when you stop winning, then it can wreck that confidence. And we've seen Order get tilted before. So
the other side of the coin is the other side of the coin is when you're 2-0 down, you're at a certain point, you're just okay, there's what else do I have to lose, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
This could
just
be the
throw
most
everything
dangerous.
at the
This
wall.
could be the most dangerous Avant. This next game and the next 2 games, if there's 2 games, could be the most dangerous Avant we see all season. Because there's no pressure now. At 2-0 down, you're expected to lose the series, right? You are. In a reality, you are expected to lose the series. So they could come out all guns blazing, pick up a few early kills, transition it into a win. Who knows? But I want to see that from AV. I just want to see guns blazing. This could be the last game that we play together in Split 1.
So then if it is a situation where you need them to come out guns blazing, they've got to throw everything at the wall.
Yep.
You're in AV's position. What do you throw at the wall right now? What is the move that AV make to be able to stem the flow?
So we did get told what side they selected, right?
Yep.
We did. That's we're
Yeah,
allowed to say.
taking. Yeah.
Yeah. So AV selected blue side.
Yep.
And so I think that's already a step in the right direction. They get to prioritize Ornn. I think that has been a very important factor in this series. The Ornn. The Ornn has pretty much, in my opinion, 1v9 both games. Swipers had such a big impact on them. And so taking blue side, banning Ornn or picking it first pick, or getting like a power pick. If they take Ornn, if they ban Ornn, they can grab the Aphelios. I think this is the step in the right direction. I think they need to take the S tier champions first, and then pick some early game aggression junglers like the Jarvan, the Elise for Lisa. I think, to be honest, just pick a skirmish heavy early game team comp from AV and just put all your eggs in that basket, because the best AV we have seen in the regular season has been the chaotic AV. The one that just fights, the one that just skirmishes, the one that just plays with, like, it has no respect for the opposition. And I think that's what AV need to do.
And particularly not like in first game where they just pick reactionary to sort of just win lame, as opposed to just like have some sort of game plan going into it.
I don't think we've ever seen AV do well when they draft for scaling, or when they draft for play for your 1v1 matchup at level 16, or play for your 3 items. Give them something where they can play at all points in the game. Even if it doesn't take them to, a win condition at 40 minutes, 50 minutes, give them something to just like, get into the rhythm of the game early. They did sort of have that last game, and they just didn't play too well. But, it's a new game next game.
Who was lurking in your house?
Is there someone lurking?
There was a head behind you before.
Before
Getting worried about that. You should check that.
Maybe I'll call the cops while I'm in here.
You should. I'm just saying. You should make sure your stuff's still there when you come out.
Yep.
We got some emote chat from everybody. Rusty thinks B emotes are by far the best. Becca B appreciated the your perspective on emote, saying that's some real art of war shit of getting in their head. Enjoy lol says Silas thumbs down whenever enemy laner misses a spell. Dave Oerlo says Leona Concern is my starting emote for every game.
Yep.
IPU, the Blitzcrank question mark when they misplay. Most of these are just about misplays. Feyre 101, Soraka is a fine emote for multiple things. 1, when you F up. 2, when your team F's up. 3, when your opponent F's up. And then I did see Toku NJT said, I used the hat tipping Pengu instead of thumbs up. Nice
I do
play.
like that one. Yeah.
Thanks for the leash, etc. Literally the only person who submitted something where they were like, here's some positivity.
Yeah. Well, shout out to that guy. He's a positive gamer.
Just saying, you're the one person that's making the OS region...
making League great again.
Making League great again, that's what I'm trying to say. All right, speaking of making League great again, let's see if AV throw everything at the wall. It's Game 3, AV versus Order. It's all or nothing for AV. Order still have two more games in the bag. Let's see what happens as we get into the Macca's Champ Select.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Well, let's jump into it. Game 3, a potential match point here for Order. The first 2 games have been a complete stomp. Let's not beat around the bush here, Rusty. Avant need to show up. They need to show something completely different here. Well, I say completely different, but they need to adapt, right? Because right now, they are going to, bomb out of this series and really leave the fans wanting more.
Yeah, look, let's be honest, they've already started the adaptations at the very least, which is nice. For what it's worth, they're on blue side now, Skimmy, so they are in a better position. One of the big things that Order have been doing is Ornn as their first pick. So now the opportunity is there for AV to either ban it or pick it themselves in their first rotation. You can see in their first 3, they've chosen to ban that away. You look for priority now perhaps towards AD carries. It could even be the center. This is something that Order have now proven they don't need the Tahm Kench for. It becomes a little bit harder to play against then if you continue to give that one over and they find success with that. So already I would say that AV have done the necessary good moves. Otherwise, they could be in a whole lot of trouble if nothing changes.
100%. And you mentioned it with the side selection. I'm just so damn happy to see them finally ban away this Ornn. Yes, game 1, it was stable, it was consistent, but game 2, it was disgusting. It was literally dictating all the fights, and Avant had to essentially just stand back and wait for the game to be completed. We want game 3 to be different. We went from game 1 being all about macro, we went to game 2 all being about bloodbath action. Game 3, we're going to open it up here with an Olaf.
No, it seems like the bans don't want to change too much here from Order's side of the field, and AV are the ones who've been doing all the changing right now. They've gone for an Olaf with that first pick, like you mentioned, and that's weird, because the strong AD carries are still available, and I think this comes back to a conversation we've had before on who is the best current ADC in the meta. There's been a shift to Misfortune, but now we're only seeing the Aphelios side of the coin, right? And in response to that, it has been the Braun Varus, and so we have seen that priority shift, but it seems like AV's priority hasn't been on the Aphelios unless it's a takeaway from Rare.
Yep.
And then they go for the Olaf instead this time, and I don't think that would be an immediate lock-in from Order's side of the coin here either. And that makes me worry, right? Like, why be blue side in draft phase in League of Legends is because you get to ban things and have the power to pick one S-tier champion yourself. Olaf is okay, but I wouldn't say that it is S-tier, and then I wouldn't say that because you've now drafted yourself a bloody Thresh with it, that's not a Yuumi.
Well, that's what I was
expecting. You haven't gone for the Olaf Yuumi. Now you've just picked an arbitrary Olaf. I wonder if perhaps it's a top lane flex or something. Like maybe they're channeling chippies.
Well, that's what I really want to wonder, right? Because obviously they had been banning Olaf in the first 2 games, so either they know something that we don't, and they really have had great performances in scrims, or they've got some understanding of it, just being able to flex elsewhere. But the first initial thought would have been Olaf Yuumi, incredibly strong. They're going to stick stubborn with this Thresh, and if they run to another situation where this Trundle and Nautilus just get out of order, well, out of order, yeah. I think that really says it all for you.
I've thrown
myself into a narrative.
Just by saying the word order. That was so Rare. Obviously, it was formerly known as Dream. That also threw me for a loop. When someone has like nobody from Mammoth, when someone's name, or was that Gravitas? Sorry, when someone's name is nobody, that's the only word that you want to use to describe things, and then you just can't think. Those damn names.
Yeah, it's a bit pesky. Definitely on that muscle memory. Definitely confuses it. Gaston and Echo once again going to be the bans that Order look to stick with. They found great success with it, obviously, and going to force Chaz to flex that champion pool again. Azir also. So we're definitely seeing a degree of consistency here in what they want to deny from each other. We're seeing glimpses of change, but it feels very much on Order saying, we're happy to flex where need be. We know what you're strong at, and we know that you're supposedly seeming to struggle on what we're, defaulting you to.
Yeah, and they'll go for the LeBlanc as their second ban here as well, AV. So the Syndra, I think, is something that is now up and available that was banned in one of the previous drafts second. So looking at Order's composition, they've got an Aphelios, they've got a pretty big front line to stand in front. Their mid laner could afford to be a low mobility champion if they wanted. Magic damage is probably the one thing that they're really after. So you could look at this and say maybe the Orianna is something worth considering for Hayri. And then I would say the Syndra is the other one.
They're just building full tank right now. I'm getting flashbacks to when Legacy just ran it with the Kog'Maw. It's almost gone full circle of forget Kog'Maw, let's just go for a protect the Aphelios composition. Let's make it so that Rare cannot do, a Hail Mary 1v5. We're going to win this series play. We've always got protection to back him on up.
Just waiting for this lock-in now from AV's side. Of course, they've seen the Maokai. They've seen where that's going in Swiper's hands because the Nautilus is now going to be a bot lane. So no real flexes there just yet, unless something real wacky happens. And AV have gone with the very conscious choice of taking away the champion they were highlighting here for Order's composition, something that rounded them out nicely. And they've also gone with a very aggressive option of solo laner to go with that Olaf. So now confirmation obviously there that the Olaf is going to be jungling. That shouldn't be a surprise unless they put Olaf top and flex the Silas jungle, which has happened, but I doubt it. Silas is very well suited to the Maokai matchup, being a healing mage, because you can, honestly, you could do the W. Yeah, you want to talk about things that got through to the last pick, that cheeky hover there from Order. It's a statement, isn't it?
It really would have been. And I think it's even better if they're able to say, we go for Lucian. We know that you're so good at this one, Chaz. We've let it go through. You're just unable to pick it. We've now got this composition that has a double AD threat and just unlimited resources in the tanking department to make sure that they have the uptime that they need.
The Lucian's an interesting one. And the reason that I say that is, like, first of all, look at the damage mix of Order. They've gone for a Trundle, Aphelios, Lucian as their 3 big damage dealers. That's primarily physical damage. There's no two ways about it, right? So Armor's meant to be very good into them. First of all, AV side aren't the most optimal tank stacking champions. They're not pure tanks, a lot of them, but they can get armor. I think the reason that they've gone for the Lucian so late in the draft here is pretty much just the Syndra counter. Just to pick themselves something that is confident into the Syndra matchup.
Yeah.
And even playing weak side or, like, you know, no jungle pressure will survive against the Syndra fine if their jungler's coming at you with the cleanse with the dashes. That champion, even though Echo was banned, could have perhaps been a Vladimir for Hayri, you know, something that's decent into the Syndra, very hard to kill, and would have been magic damage for the comp. But I think it's clear the way they wanted to do this, right? Less about the team fighting for Hayri then, much more about the controlling of the laner, and then even disappearing to a side lane and 1-3-1ing or 1-4ing to victory.
I'm just trying to think here, Rusty. Okay, yeah, the Varus will find a lot of value with his ultimate to lock people in place, but what really is the follow-up? What is Sylas, in an ideal sense, looking to steal away? Are we looking for a depth charge? Are we looking for perhaps the ability to just follow that up with maybe Maokai 2.0?
Sylas actually has pretty decent options in this game with the Maokai and Nautilus ults, right? So being able to guarantee crowd control on someone and lock them down is obviously a big deal. It's also interesting to see how the Trundle ultimate interaction will work with the Sylas, because he's a heal mage, right? He's a healing bruiser.
Yeah.
Who then gets to steal stats from somebody and heal at the same time. So that might honestly tip him over and make him too powerful if he gets ahead early. And we start to get those team fights where he's fed. You'd have a pretty hard time dealing with him, truthfully. And I don't know just how the Aphelios ultimate interaction works with Sylas.
I'm actually quite curious, right? Because he's not going to have weapons. So what does it actually do? Which one does it choose? Which one does it choose by default? Maybe chat knows. Maybe somebody, one of the chat Twitch analysis can give us a vibe on that one. But let's kick it off. It is game number 3 here in the opening round of playoffs for the OPL. Order lead the series 2-0 in this best of 5. They are sitting themselves on match point right now. Both games very much order-sided. Avant, slight adaptations here in the draft, looking to bring it back.
Yeah, AV switched to blue side, so it is going to be the first time we see them in this series on the blue side of the map. Wondering if that will be enough is probably hard to say for certain. Order were choosing the blue side. So at least there is a shift here to be seen. It wasn't going to be the Ornn first pick priority, though that was banned away here by AV. And on their last legs in this whole split of the OPL, they've thrown a gauntlet with an Olaf first pick. And I cannot come up with a reason off the top of my head as to why that would be the perfect choice in this draft, especially when you don't couple it with the Yuumi that wasn't picked or banned. But it's Lisa's choice, and we'll have to watch him play it out.
We'll have to wait for those actions to speak louder than these words, because as long as we're confused, then we need to see the justification that comes out from the performance itself. Let's see what Lisa can do in this game. We discussed at the start of the series, some games he can be a little bit absent, other games he can surely pop off and really allow his team to find those successes with this much of a priority found on the pick. I'm expecting the latter.
Yeah, he actually, it seems like he started W and went for the blue buff Gromp start. That is not your standard Olaf start on Summoner's Rift. He's done it without a leash. That does mean he will be extremely low on health, so his clear speed will obviously be significantly faster than getting extra attack speed the lower that you are. So that's a curious choice to me. I like it from AV if they're going to go for the hard farm approach to this game. Just play super slow early, get your full clear on, and then just try and get advantages through the jungle difference there. Trundle, in contrast, is a champion that can farm pretty fast once you get your Tiamat, if that's how that you want to play the game out. But, you know, that's pretty far away. He'll be healthy, but he'll be significantly slower than an Olaf. What Trundle does provide is gank threat and kill threat with a pillar, because just placing a pillar in lane could force a summoner from your opponents.
Well, it might force a fair bit of aggression in the bottom lane as well. Double summon is having to be used by Rare as Gunkrab Labs. A beautiful death sentence. Nearly summoning the death itself, but First Blood is still eluded here.
Yeah, forcing both summoners is very significant. However, if the cleanse is gone and Thresh is your lane opponent, it's going to be hard to continue to play this game out. Lisa with an early move here. It seems like the dive is on.
It definitely is.
Teleports come in.
The flash flay, and that's going to be the collapse. Violet finds her on this Varus. They do, however, fall on down. Nautilus able to pick that one up. Dive attempt going across. It will be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade. It was a kill over to Violet, though, at the same time, while it was... Oh, hang on. That's very aggressive forwards there.
Hayri just does not care. Down to 10 health. He dashes in, burns the exhaust, and Chaz just question marks him.
Wait, why does Hayri... He exhausted so late. He still has flash. It just copped it. He dashed forwards after losing that trade. I think to dodge the W damage, perhaps, but... Wow, that was...
I don't know how to really... talk about that one.
That was just complete.
I think that says it all for us there, team. Yeah, I suppose this is something you have to worry about. I think we weren't expecting it necessarily to come out of the Hayri, definitely out of rare, but regardless, interesting moments in the first 5 minutes.
He still has the flash, though. He'll be okay in the lane. It's just, you know, like, we actually saw a little bit of this last game. A couple of unnecessary kills, perhaps, going over to their opponents. And those are the windows of opportunity that AV needed, you know, desperately to bring themselves back into this game. And it's already feeling a bit like a night and day showing. If Chaz is showing up on the map early, like, he is getting these solo kills, regardless of if it's his fault or his opponent's doing. He's there.
Yeah.
And when Chaz gets those leads, he is a significant part of AV's win condition.
100%. He's definitely been a massive driving point in this team and has very much felt, you know, closed out in these first two. Unable to have very much of an influence, you know, resigned to the side lanes and just watching his team just get picked apart bit by bit. But only now showing grace in the bottom lane, looking to make them well aware of his presence, and for the third time in a row, is going to be the one that gets the jump on this objective.
Yeah, only always one step ahead in the jungle. Even, like, we just spoke about what this matchup is capable of doing. There was a dive bottom, so that halts the momentum just a little bit. You can see a bit of pressure in mid lane, only looking perhaps to make something happen here.
He is indeed. He lands the pillar. That's going to force out a flash from the Olaf. They're looking for more damage. A beautiful two-man stun comes across, and a max range hook nearly connecting there by Ayla. They wanted a pick to make it that much easier for the Dragon.
Yeah, but Chaz hit 6. They disengage off the Dragon after losing a decent amount of health and time to doing it. They choose not to complete the objective. That'll hurt them a little bit. They may even just force reset. So Ocean Dragon not going to be taken odd tempo, not going to be something they look towards. And Chaz disengages, and now he ticks 6, which forces a lot of safety and response here from the side of Order. So AV still fighting strong in this.
Definitely a better start for this roster. Chaz completely ooms, so does need to go for a reset, as does Harry as well. So we're going to see a bit of a lull state, if you will, as the junglers look to re-establish themselves towards that Drake. Now a second gank attempt comes across, and there's no flash on this Fresh. The 3-man collapse. Where are you going, Gunkrab? Now they get the pick, and now they can turn their attention.
And that's extremely big. You know, the lead between AD carries was so significant in favor of Violet that not only do they get the kill, it goes into the hands of Rare. That'll help a little bit. Now, a lot of respect has to be paid here by Only towards this Olaf, and a stray axe could kill him right now.
Oh my gosh.
That's literally the stray axe. And he doesn't have smite.
Does such a good job there of just destroying the aggro. A beautiful tank attempt. And, well, Lisa picks up 2 for his sins. The Dragon will go across the Order, but very scrappy.
Yeah, it feels tense in this situation where Order has so much momentum in the first 2 games. They're coming to this third one. They're making bold calls, extremely bold calls. And this time they do scrape their way through that. They have the numbers advantage first. They have the damage earlier than that of their opponents. But you can still feel how, like, that was surprisingly close to being successful for AV, even with the numbers disadvantage.
Let's see how it all started out here. Obviously, the fact is Only getting hit by the axe, and Ayla denying this one auto, which would have spelled his death.
Yeah, and then also actually getting the hook onto Chaz as Chaz pushes him away. The difference maker is Hayri being into the mix and getting the fight off. Violet not here. Gunkrab not here. It was purely a numbers advantage fight, which is why they are able to get the Drake. But a lot of work done by AV's 2 members that were there.
And I suppose, honestly, a lot done by those that weren't. Violet finding himself in a very healthy CS lead as a result. Once again, really showing up in his own respective role, and they will look to contest. They will look to actually just flat out take it. The Rift Herald in their pocket. Now they're going to look to collapse on towards Ayla, who is forced to burn that stopwatch and ensure that the rest of his team can disengage. Avant now find themselves for the lead, or find themselves with the momentum for the first time in the series.
Yeah, and it's amazing what difference it can make when AV have momentum and they're able to actually get to these objectives first. You know, this map tempo, this ability to move from mid lane first if possible, has done wonders for them. You know, Lisa now actually finds himself with a lead in the jungle role, only still getting what he can but staying indefinitely behind. AD carry difference is starting to dwindle, but that has really helped free up Gunkrab just a little bit more. This is much more positive from AV. This is much closer to what we've seen from AV in the regular season towards the latter ends of the split.
Let's see if we can continue with that one, or if Order find themselves in a situation where they can bounce back. You know, we talked about it beforehand where Avant were just struggling to play from behind. Now that they find themselves in a lead, slim margins, obviously only 1k gold, sitting on a Rift Herald as well, they have the ability to dictate where this very first tower falls on down.
Well, you have to really see the top laners influence this game at all as well. You know, I think they just traded their teleports to get back to lane, continue farming up safely. Not quite nearing that one item spike just yet. In fact, Swiper's even gone for the double fairy charm.
Yep.
Just to have the mana regeneration to stay in the lane even longer. And it's clear that that's the way that they're going to continue to play this out. But that 4v4, without him there, is starting to struggle just a little bit more. And it's all about the threat that this Syndra is starting to have around the Rift. He's always going to be the one you keep your eyes on here. Chaz. He's rushed the Sorcerer's Shoes as well, and he's got the blue buff. So decent threat and a lot of movement speed getting around the Rift to really influence the map.
Yeah, you speak about influencing. Well, Teleport's going to be up very shortly as well. So if a fight were to break out in those side lanes, he will be ready to respond and utilize that penetration that comes from the Sorc boots. Just look for that one-shot burst, which may just be the reality right now for Appy as he goes face-checking and he gets punished.
Yeah, it's pretty classic Order, isn't it? They'll just pick a side lane, they'll send Ayla and Only down there together, and this time it was a face check from Appy that gets him punished. And, you know, once again, they'll get a kill back in their direction. They'll get something going back in their favor. And it's those little kills that start to add up very quickly here for a team like Order. We've already spoken about what they can do with momentum.
Well, Chaz is going to be the one to respond to the side lane to keep himself up in terms of gold, in terms of CS leads. Definitely needs to make sure that the Syndra will find value. We'll give Hayri a bit of a chance to get some plates for his own, or just snipe away one. One Order will definitely do that. Make sure that this Lucian is still going to be very, very relevant. Obviously, the mobility that this pick presents will do it justice. But Swiper will keep content.
Boys.
Yeah, more plates for him too.
A demolished proc on the turret there, gets him 2 plates, catching AV on the translation from top lane back to mid, and of course Appy walking from base to top. AV now, they've got the Rift Herald if they wanted to summon that one. They might do it late in this wave just to secure the entirety of this turret, and that will be the trade that they have well and truly earned from the fight and map tempo that gave them the Herald.
Absolutely, and they burn away a flash too. Order don't have it. The jungle disengages there. Out comes the pillar to make sure that this turret will not fall. Swiper looks to lead the charge. The box goes down, and that actually prevents a lot of these members piling on in. Appy responds with the teleport. And Rare 7 is on the flank, but that's not what ADCs do. Instantly the response with double summoners again. He is going to pick up the kill. Oh no! Appy finds the self-sustain for just a little bit longer. The kill actually going over to Hayri's Lucian instead. Scary, scary times from both ends of the stick.
Yeah, they send so many members mid-AV, and that turret fortification becomes extremely significant, and they're not actually able to break the turret in mid itself. They do get all the plates, but that's so much time when they try and actually secure the whole turret for Order to rotate, get to the fight, and Swiper's the one who gets here first. Throws down that Maokai ultimate, and suddenly they're able to get some picks back, and you know the gold difference is only 600 right now, which you have to say is a little bit surprising with how much improved AV have felt through this.
Absolutely. Oof. Chaz very close there to hitting that lethal moment. With those stun connect, the damage surely would have been there. Unable to find it just
now.
now.
Hex Drinker. You know, a lot of Lucians in this matchup, especially when there's high kill threat from this Syndra, and I mean, it is a 2-1 Syndra, would probably go towards a Hex Drinker in their first items. He's rushing the Blade of the Ruined King still, however. So no magic resistance just yet from Hayri, and I don't want to say that's a disrespectful build because he actually does have the exhaust, and that might be what he's using to compensate.
Makes fair sense in this state of the game. There's a bit of a discrepancy there, as you can see, 500 gold. I suppose the biggest talking point has to be the fact that, you know, Violet was up by so much CS, keeping toe-to-toe with Rare, but, you know, Rare was able to find those kills, but every single time he's looking for these team fights, forced to burn double summoners, unable to be punished, but definitely starting to get to that point where you go, come on, Rare, don't do this here on match point.
Yeah, I think he's actually at that point, though, where like AV's champions will one-tap him. That is the full Luden's now done for Chaz, so that item spike extremely significant for his damage output. You've also got the Proto Belt there now for Appy, who is nearing level 11 on that Silas, and if he's able to get into Rare, who has no summoners, they can pick him apart pretty effectively.
Well, Swiper's going to be very late to this team fight, but he is going to use that teleport to make sure that is not a reality. Ayla's going to fall on down because he has no stone plate and no stopwatch. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade as Lucian gets a shutdown onto Avant's jungler. Out come the trees as they look to rope and zone members away. And Avant will do just that, sitting in the mid-wave. Forced to back on out, making it very easy now for Order to rotate and pick up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're not going to lose any health touching this Herald. Look at Swiper. He's going to be the person who not only zones away, but gives the engage, and they're on Gun Crab.
He just jumps straight into Gun Crab, and they're going to buy a lot of time because he does not fall on down. He actually finds the kill with his Ignite, and he's going to get that kill for sure. Now they flash over, they go aggressive, they look for more. He gets himself out of harm's way and leaves Violet to the wolves. He just picks them all up. How do you stop these members?
He's a monster on the mount, guys. Swiper right now has just single-handedly put the team on his back. He said, all right, boys, it's time to group. We're going mid lane. Throws the ultimates down, Twisted advances, and just picks himself up kill after kill. Hayri is going to be a little bit sad that he doesn't have a Hex Drinker after that one. However, Dire is out of the range of exhaust, so that'll come back to hurt him with Syndra's burst, but he's got a Swiper, so it doesn't actually matter in the end because Swiper gets the work done. You'll see the fight here. It starts off with a hook from Gun Crab as Swiper goes forwards. And that hook, there you go. Goodbye, Hayri. Dead to rights. No way of surviving that one. And that's why I bring up the Hex Drinker, but just watch Swiper put in work here. He waits for that W cooldown. He's able to actually cue the kill on the Gun Crab at the same time, maximizing not only his damage output, but his positioning in the fight. So obviously loves himself some tanks and plays them to the fullest.
He's been playing so phenomenally in this series, really making an argument for top difference right now. You know, credit where credit is due for Appy. You know, forced to switch from that support role to the top lane up against, you know, arguably one of the best top laners this region has ever had. It's going to always be a tough one to, you know, take, but he's just having so much influence in all these fights and across these skirmishes.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the influence is starting to spread like wildfire. Appy, on the other hand, we've really not seen too much from him so far. I think my eyes still have to go to Violet. Anytime we see him play on Summoner's Rift, you have decently high expectations for the player. He is a young mechanical player. This is his first playoffs. But he's still 2-1-2. He has decent CS in this game. And while AV is 0-2, they're down, they're not out. I still look to someone like Violet to help turn this around.
Without a doubt, the guy is always keeping up with the CS, always a threat to bear with. He just needs the uptime to make it a reality. Now Order look to base break as they take down the very first mid-structure. They're just going to look for double headbutts and double damage. A fight may now break out as they look to try and get close towards this mid-inhibitor. Going to force out a teleport as a response right now. A triple headbutt comes across as well. Ooh. So much damage. Avant need to respond. Out comes the Nature's Grasp to disengage. Violet is the one to find a kill. AD carries reign supreme as Harry responds in quick fashion. Disengage surely is to take place right now because the third Drake is now online.
It started just as a support trade, a couple of ultimates being thrown back and forth, and suddenly everyone's throwing their buttons into the mix and trying to get some trades. Chaz still has his, though. He is the one member on Summoner's Rift with his ult up, and his damage is high.
Can Syndra look for that one-man execute, that one-man collapse to make this situation just hold on out for a little bit longer? Both junglers are still available, so they don't want to make this a 50-50. The stun connects, Appy jumps in with the chains, and they delete Swiper. It's a shutdown, and it's in this man's hand. We're starting to see why Avant loved this Olaf and really so highly prioritized the pick.
Yeah, extremely highly prioritized. Now, it will net them the first Drake of the game for AV. Order on the other side already had two, so they avoid Soul Point. That's a very big deal here, of course. Now AV will feel much more confident being able to delay the game a little bit further, continue to play on their terms. Nice hook.
Rare. Had the flash, burnt the cleanse.
The thumbs up and down from Violet.
He hits the Avant emote and Violet's like, unlucky.
Ice in his veins, Skibby. To be able to emote spam 0 down, he's going for gold with those thumbs down as well. There's
Right next
ice
to the
in that
corpse.
man's veins.
I love it. You wanted to see it right from
Let him
Violet,
know.
and he's doing it.
I don't know about you, but I actually think I like that. That was a big confidence
I
thing
do
for
too.
me.
I do
You know,
too. You can imagine how frustrated he's been in this series. The fact that he's always been going toe-to-toe, head-to-head, just unable to really translate in these team fights. And there, just gets the better exchange.
Yeah, it's a good punish. A misposition from Rare is immediately punished by AV, and he is very happy about that fact, and so he should be. Now 4-1 on the Varus, has his 2 completed items as well here. He's a powerhouse, Skimmy. He's a big deal, and I really don't know. I mean, a Maokai is going to have a decent time of keeping a Varus down. A Trundle Pillar can be a big deal, but to the initial point, you know, there's just physical damage on the side of Order, and even the slightest amount of armor can really make life hard. He already has that stopwatch, could be building towards an armor item in the GA. Might just be able to stand and deliver against his opponents.
And that's what he'll be looking to achieve with the space that an Olaf and Syndra can create. Both the supports now had that stone plate online, so it's going to be a little bit easier for them to jump in, create space, zone out, and engage. And Chaz definitely having a far better time in this game. We spoke about it from the very get-go here. Up in CS, always a kill for it. Now working towards that Leandries, looking to delete.
And we're getting the big magic resistance items completed from Order's side of the coin. While there is some pretty good damage items being done now on AV's side, we already highlighted the Proto Belt. Now building towards the Luden's Echo is this Silas. As they get completed, there is still a behemoth of an opponent to get through in Swiper with his 2 completed items, but it's also the Spirit Visage for Only, which is what I really wanted to bring up there. He's gone for the full tank route. Bit of cooldown reduction in the build, but definitely just wants to stand and soak damage in front of his 2 carries. And, you know, Aphelios and Lucian, mid to short range champions.
Yeah.
They are, you know, the Lucian dashes forwards if he wants to maximize his damage output. So you need to be able to stand in front of him. And I think that's my biggest concern in this game, is all of the damage that can just incidentally blast Hayri out of existence is pretty powerful from AV.
Could be very important from defined value, not only obviously with his teammates' positioning, but with that exhaust too. We've yet to really see it find a moment that has really been clutch, at least from what I've noticed in these team fights as of late. And I very much have my eyes firmly fixated on the 280 carries for the points you mentioned, right? With that low mobility, or with that low attack range, how they can navigate these team fights to find maximum value.
Yeah, for sure. Waiting for the next big objective. You know, you don't want to give... You definitely don't want to give 4 Mountain Drakes over to AV with a soul. That is just disgusting. And it means that, like, you know, the bruiser champions that exist in their comp, you know, they're not all going to be able to just stack armor and deal with Order's composition easily. 4 Mountain Drakes can. The smallest amount of resistance then adds up to be a significant deal, let alone the shield that goes on top of it, so...
But how interesting is this game? Yeah. You know, this third game in comparison to the first 2, right? You know, game 1, all about macro, very little kills. I think it was like only 6 in its entirety, all going the way of Order. The second game, a complete bloodbath, you know, like 30, 40 kills. This game is like a happy medium between the 2, you know. You've got Rift Heralds going left and right. You've got kills even in the balance. The gold right now, still dead even.
It feels much more like a fighting pit this time, right? Like there's still it's a very high kill game, to say the least, but it does feel back and forth at the minimum, where the first 2 were very much one-sided. A flash hook.
Gun crab with the flash hook. Instantly going to respond there with Summoner Cleanse having to be used. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where Rare has that Summoner online for more than a few moments.
I don't know, man. The flash was very aggressive. The hook's on.
It is. The box locks him in place with the Twisted Advance going in. Actually, no, it's going to be the Nature's Grasp to lock them in place. It's a familiar zone, a familiar territory for where Order find examples of damage and destruction. Appy gets the first one. Ayla falls on down. It's all lighting up blue so far with a shutdown picked up too. Swiper's rewarded for his chasing attempts. But Avant are incredibly healthy with Lisa leading the line. He's got his eyes set on the tank. He's looking to chop down Woody. He is the Lumberjack coming in clutch. He is definitely not quarantined, and he wants to let them know. He just wants to try and destroy this Syndra. But they're playing soccer with the balls on the field. Out comes the exhaust. And Harry is forced to disengage, the only member surviving. Avant are going to find themselves an ace.
They get the ace with 3 people still alive here, Skimmy, so they're going to be able to go over, get that Mountain Drake completely uncontested. Second of the game for them. AV are in this one, and they are well and truly taking it to Order.
2 Mountain Drakes right now. You look at all the tanks that Order have, but Avant are well up working towards a similar situation too, with the resistances that are going to begin to start stacking up.
We'll get to see this fight again, of course. It all happens in a pretty big choke point position. I mean, when you're looking at the way Order want this, they choose to take the fight. It's Ayla getting hooked to start this off. But Rare can't really get in to deal damage, and Hayri can't really get in to do damage himself either. And just like that, you know, if only one team is dealing DPS effectively, then only one team is really successfully winning this game. Quite simple there. Nice flash trade, and then Swiper has no mana. So the rest of this is inevitable. As we get to see how Rare dies here. I think it was Guncrab that ends up picking up the kill. It must have been a hook.
Oh.
Yeah, nice hook from him, and at the end of the day, while it was Guncrab that gets it, it's still a positive trade. And then Hayri flashes, exhausts in, and just dies. The flash is traded from Violet. He can't get himself out. We're back. They're pressuring mid.
Just look how many summoners were used as a result of that. And they want more. They find a kill. Stoneplate buys time. Teleport comes out. Everybody turns their attention and say hello. As the Nature's Grasp goes down, Rooty members in place, but he pays the ultimate price, the ultimate demise. And Aphelios starts to hit that point with 2 items online, these 2 crucial items, where he can do damage from afar. Guncrab's so impressive with these hooks so far, allowing these plays to happen, but Chaz is in the middle of nowhere. He's left on an island, buying time for his team to come on in. He is the only member left with that flash, and he uses it to great effect as they turn the momentum back on its head and say, no, Order, you need to disengage.
Yeah, a lot of respect still needing to be shown. You know, they're not out of troubled waters just yet, AV. It is Order who are fighting back and still staying resilient. And even though the turrets go down, and even though AV are starting to build up very effectively in this game, they've got a 5-1 ADC. They still need to play this out perfectly, and they're still losing summoner spells on the defense as Order are able to at least match them. Once again, we came out of a replay to see this fight happening. The pressure onto the mid lane inner turret always starts with a hook onto Ayla, but because the stone plate exists, he at the very least gets that ultimate off and buys some time. It was time for a teleport to come in for Swiper, who just gets evaporated. But a million chakrams are still there from Rare, as he was actually left untouched. And, you know, that wasn't the perfect fight from Order, but that is the way that Order want to be taking these fights. The tanks die for the carries dealing damage.
And how frustrating must that have been? You know, you see Ayla find a 5-man ultimate knock-up, Swiper locking in place, the culling as well as Aphelios just able to find so much value in that choke spot. But just not coordinated as they would have liked it to have been. And you know, from that fight beforehand, we got to see a bit of an assessment of really where these 2 teams value their spikes of damage, their presence in this game. Avant slowly starting to find advantages, eking away with that economy. The first team to find themselves at that magical 50k mark and 3k above.
Nice little play there from Order, trying to get something back in their favor once again, but Guncrab's there with the lantern to make sure that nothing further happens. Looking towards this next play, you know, 1 minute 30 seconds until the Mountain Dragon, and Baron has been alive for 7 minutes, almost entirely untouched. You're really waiting for a team to set up with authority on an objective itself. You know, a lot of the fighting at the moment, if it's not around the Drake, has actually just been like a pick, like a thresh hook. Or something insignificant that just kind of blows out of proportion. We're waiting for that breaking point. A big 5v5 team fight. Another hook off.
Swiper's being caught on the late recall. He's going to get punished again. Every member of Avant are just sitting there. They have grouped up. and they are bringing it to Order. And my point to add to that is they have double summoners in teleport available, so they can just find so much macro pressure if they do see fit.
And they have started the Baron. Order obviously have to be aware of this one. The blue trinket confirms that it's at half health already. It goes down so quickly if Violet's hitting this. I don't even think they can get there. No, they have to concede. They
absolutely have to concede. They realize it's just not worth it at this point of the game. 30 seconds on another Drake. That would put both these teams onto sole points. And Avant right now, I don't want to say they're being gifted kills, because they definitely haven't. But they're definitely in the right place at the right time.
They've earned all of the kills they've got. But, you know, there is two sides to every story. That one was a hook on somebody recalling. And suddenly they find it. Now, Order... They have the Drake in 5 seconds. It's 3 Mountain Drakes to AV if they concede this. It's not a great time to have to fight your opponents, but it is a time where you feel a mighty need. And this is a time where you feel that mighty need, but they just can't do it.
Well, Violet is 6-1 right now. Has the Executioners online, so he's got the healing reduction to spread across many members, as if his kit didn't already have enough of that already inbuilt. Guy is a monster if he is able to execute, which as it stands right now has been the case. Third Dragon, as you say, is in their pocket. Baron buff still alive. Lanes are being pushed, and Harry is forced to try and find some kind of love in that side lane.
AV fully grouped up now in the side lane themselves, maybe pressuring Swiper out. He cannot defend this by himself. The damage from Varus is way too significant, and Gunkrab has been definitely getting his eye in with these hooks.
Yeah.
Nary a miss coming out of him at the moment. Now they continue to pressure. Order have finally responded, but is it too late?
That was my concern from game 2. You know, would this Fresh be able to find value up against tanks? You know, with the draft that they presented, you thought maybe a similar situation would have happened again, but it's not to be the case right now. This Fresh is definitely the one in the driving seat, able to really make this team find success that they need to try and turn this best-of-5 series around.
This turret is definitely going to go down if those cannons do not get dealt with. So turret drops. Aphelios ult hooks on. The fight's happening.
Hook again. Out goes the box, and every member of Order run through, but they have the ultimates from afar. They dash on in. Out goes the Nature's Grasp, but Lisa just deleting the support and Ayla. They both go golden, they both disengage, and out comes the Cleanser's Rays, forced to disengage as well. It is an all-out back to the fountain. We need to heal on up. We cannot contest, we cannot deal with this, and we will lose our first inhibitor here.
And they're looking to end the game right now, Skibby. They could have gone for 2 inhibitors, perhaps for 3. Nice hook, though.
He just does not miss these hooks. The stopwatch comes out again. Rare's forced to burn out the flash as well. Every single time this guy has got his number, he's unable to find any love, any uptime, any chance to execute. Turret. Next turret falls on down. 1 remains. Avant very low now. No sustain to re-juggle around with. Will not look to throw here.
Instead of perhaps going for 2 inhibitors, that mid lane turret had minions crashing on it, and they had a significant numbers advantage. They choose to try and force and end the game, and honestly, I don't mind that. That's the bold shot calling and decision making that you need to see from AV to keep them in this series. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't work, but they do get summoners off rare. They do break a turret, which gets them a stone throw closer to being able to win this game. And they're getting ever closer to a 4 Mountain Drake Mountain Soul, which no one wants to deal with in the history of League of Legends. That just sounds like a bad time.
I mean, you've got not only the inbuilt stats, but then the shield added to that as well. I don't see a world in which, you know, this double AD carry comp that Order have, can they even present them a problem?
Yeah, and that's like, the thing is, if it went according to plan, then this wouldn't be so much of an issue, but the Lucian hasn't been able to control the Syndra. And that started very early into the game, right? It was a solo kill from Hayri playing very bold League of Legends. That comes back to now hurt him, and you can see that now they're missing a mage, a control mage of some kind, maybe a mage assassin, whatever it was. They're an entirely physical comp, and it's easy to have a single armor item now. The Zhonya's Hourglass for these mages. You get some extra armor because you've got the 3 Mountain Drakes to buff up those stats as well. And then they just become a powerhouse composition that can just mow you over.
Well, all their attention to this top lane, wanting to keep Order locked in place unable to put down any kind of vision, knowing that these next two very decisive objectives are spawning in just over a minute. They will push out top lane completely. They will now gear up for a final shot, the ultimate power, and a potential comeback to make this a 2-1.
Yeah, now is do or die. It's the put up or shut up order in this game. And this is obviously the crucial moment for AV to be able to win this one. If they get the soul, it becomes nearly impossible for Order to continue to contest and fight. Their damage is starting to wane already. Hayri now moving from top side. He's pushed the wave out as far as he can, what is deemed safe or well-timed, and now starts to make his way down towards the Drake. Mid lane priority is the place you have to look at first. Step one is being able to set up for a Drake fight. They at least have to clear the waves of AV to not give them a free track towards the Drake, uncontested. With 20 seconds and those supers building in bot lane, it's not an easy thing to do.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. 18% extra boost to the armor and magic resistance that Avant have already. Violet has already completed items. Look at him. The guy's full 6.
Huge. He actually has his full build right now, 34 minutes in. I mean, if you wanted to, you just send Violet to solo this while you keep everybody else showing in mid lane.
Yeah.
But instead, you know, it is a free objective. They know that Order aren't coming to contest them because they cannot see them on the map through any of their vision. They know that Baron was the place that perhaps they look at. But that Drake was gone way too quick, so they can't even consider the Baron. The vision that they get there is minimal at best, and Sleepers will clear this out. Order just couldn't find their moment.
Is there ever a world in which I've looked at a screen and seen 4 Mountain Drakes? I mean, I would probably cry at this point. 24% now, buff. Not to mention the shield it adds.
That was nice, actually.
A good time.
Order, if they survive this, which may not.
I'm not seeing it happen right now, Rusty, because they're going to go for an all-out engage. This is a do-or-die moment. Stone plates come online, and they are very tanky members, so we're not going to see that one-shot burst that you would expect in other games. Uncrab is the one that receives the full brunt of the damage as he rotates through double actives. He can go for a healthy rotate back to base, and Avant can keep up the pressure in mid to assert their dominance towards this Baron.
Yeah, that support looking like a bloody Sejuani in this one. Way too tanky. They know that Order have to go back to base and deal with Super Swiper. If he's going to sit there by himself, he has no mana, even though he has the teleport. So Baron is just going to go over to AV's hands. No contest. And even though nobody dies in that fight from either side, AV are still the ones who come out on top.
AV now for the final time in this game will go back for a shot. I say the final time because it looks like the odds are very much in their favor. Baron and a Mountain Soul. 4 of those Drakes. They are incredibly tanky, and I just don't see a way or a world really for Order to even look at contesting a 5v5.
I mean, they have no choice, so if they have to, I guess what you're looking at now is all about the engage. It's who you actually get to pick off as a target. If Nautilus finds a hook onto Violet, things could be different. That was a flash ultimate from Violet for a cleanse. It wasn't even a cleanse, it was a QSS. I mean, that opens up risk for a Thresh hook, but that was once again very bold here from AV, really trying to force their hand while they think that they are just stronger than their opponents.
And look how Appy is prepping these waves. Completely pushes out top side to threaten the top inhibitor. Now going to the bottom side to re-establish and take down an inhibitor again. Mid lane still being threatened. The hooks just do not miss. I said it all game. And the amount of damage, the punishment that comes across onto this Trundle as a result. He is now down to half, looking to defend mid lane.
Yeah, this mid lane's going to be pressured. Bot lane also having the Baron minions there. You'd expect they will lose this inhibitor at the bare minimum. Remember, they're missing a Nexus turret already. So defending this is a difficult thing to do. Here they go.
They're going to go all on out for this one right now. Chaz popping the Zhonya's baiting, and all the members here of Order. The box goes down once again, buying more time, more room for them to maneuver. A massive stun as Central connects, and Order are forced to disengage. Only 2 survive and only 2 live, but without a summoner, without a chance to respond. Yes, they killed Chaz, but their base, their Nexus, will fall.
37 minutes on the clock for this game. It was a 0-2 scoreline as well for AV, but they are able to get themselves the win. It was a hard-fought win, a hard-earned victory, but they still get it. That's what matters. Now they bring themselves back into a best of 5 with something going for them. You know, switching to blue side, it's very clear that they have found at least something in the way of taking down Order and making the series better for themselves.
It looked like Avant finally actually showed up. They're finally playing the game. You know, the first 2 games, number 1 and 2, or under 30 minutes, like 27-minute wins that were very, very one-sided. You come into this game, and it was neck and neck until around about the 20-minute mark. That Dragon contest comes online, and Avantness wiped the floor. And from that moment, they just showed no signs, really, of slowing down from that one.
Yeah, there was a serious concern that this would have just been a 3-0 shutout and we wouldn't even have got to see AV play League of Legends. So it's genuinely very refreshing to see them here in this third game. And that felt much more like the AV that we have seen, you know, at their best in the OPL regular split.
Well, Avant find themselves a much-needed win to keep their playoff stream alive, or to still lead the best of 5 series 2-1. Don't go anywhere. Game number 4 after the break.